The past holds a lot of secrets, and we're here to uncover them. Join us on this epic historical journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the discovery. There are countless doors around the world that haven't been opened in decades or even centuries. The big question is, why? It feels like you can open just about any door these days, but the truth is, some doors were shut for a really good reason. And so far, no one has figured out exactly what treasures or secrets might be hiding behind them. Here are 4 mysterious doors that are keeping their secrets well.
The Taj Mahal.
First up, the Taj Mahal in India, one of the most romantic places in the world. Emperor Shah Jahan ordered its construction in 1631 as a gift to his third wife, whom he loved deeply. They were married for 19 years and had 14 children together. Sadly, she died giving birth to their last child. Shah Jahan was devastated and decided to build a legendary tomb in her memory. It took 20 full years to complete. The design is pretty fascinating. Those 4 giant minarets, each standing 130 feet tall at the corners of the massive platform, aren't just for show. Back in the 17th century, architects had to deal with buildings collapsing under their own weight. So the chief architect made sure to position the minarets away from the main tomb, and even tilted them slightly outward so if they ever fell, they wouldn't crash into the rest of the structure. Talk about thinking ahead. But the Taj Mahal also hides some crazy secrets. There are locked rooms all over the place that no one's allowed to enter. If you look at photos taken from the riverbank, you can even spot 2 sealed underground chambers, and guess what? They're locked too. No one knows what's inside or why they've stayed sealed since the time of Shah Jahan. Apparently there's a solid reason these rooms are off limits. Some researchers believe they were built using marble, which can chemically react with carbon dioxide and turn into calcium carbonate. When that happens, the marble starts flaking off like crazy. To make things worse, there's no airflow down there, so if too much CO2 builds up, the rooms could literally collapse. But wait, there's more. Some think Shah Jahan's wife's body might still be preserved in one of these locked chambers. Why not? Who knows what those mysterious rooms are hiding?
The Great Sphinx of Giza.
Next, let's talk about the Great Sphinx of Giza. It's surrounded by mystery. Not only is it one of the largest stone statues in the world, it's also a mythical creature with the head of a woman and the body of a lion, straight out of Egyptian and Greek legends. And it's seriously old, about 4,500 years old, give or take. It took around 3 years and 100 skilled workers to build it. No, they weren't slaves, and they were well fed with things like lamb and goat meat. It's believed the Sphinx was once much larger than what we see today. Archaeologists even found huge stone blocks and abandoned tools around the site. But the real secrets lie underground, right beneath its pores. Using seismic equipment, scientists discovered 2 hidden chambers below the Sphinx's front legs. Some believe these could be the legendary Hall of Records, said to contain ancient scrolls with knowledge about the universe. That's way cooler than any library I've ever been to. There are even rumours the Egyptians stashed information about Atlantis down there, kind of like an ancient conspiracy theory. Sadly, we can't just go down and check. Supposedly there are 2 entrances, but both are sealed tight. Researchers still haven't gotten the green light to explore further. Let's just hope they don't keep us waiting forever.
The Secret Temple of Padmanabhaswamy.
This temple is located in the beautiful state of Kerala, India. But it's not just famous for its breathtaking beauty. Beneath the temple lie 6 massive underground vaults labelled creatively as A, B, C, D, E and F. The huge iron doors guarding them only add to the mystery. A few years ago, officials finally decided to open these vaults up to the world. But it wasn't easy. You can't just swing the doors open and walk in. It took a lot of effort and preparation. After a long wait in 2011, 5 out of the 6 vaults were finally opened. And guess what they found? Piles of treasure, bags full of gold, priceless gems and diamond-studded jewellery. The total value of everything found was estimated at $1 trillion. That's not a typo, $1 trillion. The temple was actually the real inspiration behind Aladdin's Cave of Wonders. But hold on, I said 5 out of 6 were opened. So what happened to the last vault? Vault B has remained sealed, not for lack of trying though. They just couldn't get it open. There's even a belief that it's deadly cursed. According to legend, only a holy man or wise sage can break the curse by chanting a special spell. But so far no one's pulled it off. Probably because we don't exactly have a bunch of saints or sages on standby. There's also a rumour that back in the 1930s some looters tried to break into Vault B for a bit of good old-fashioned treasure hunting, but they never made it. Apparently, terrifying snakes appeared out of nowhere and chased them off. Of course, that sounds like an urban legend. There's no proof it actually happened. Still, the temple's chief auditor once claimed that Vault B had actually been opened at least 7 times since 1990, and that nothing bad happened to anyone who went in. Who knows? Maybe we should send Indiana Jones to check it out. Deep inside an unassuming hill, protected by deadly traps, lies a 2,000-year-old tomb. It belongs to Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China.
He was born in the state of Qin and became king as a boy. When he grew up and took full control, he conquered all the warring states and united ancient China. That's when he established the Qin dynasty.
When he died in 210 BCE, they buried him deep underground in a massive tomb. And when I say massive, I mean huge.
In 1974, a group of farmers in Xi'an, China, stumbled upon something weird while digging a well, a giant clay soldier. That discovery kicked off a huge archaeological dig that's been going on for over 40 years, uncovering an entire army of terracotta soldiers.
The cool thing? Each soldier has unique features, different hairstyles, facial expressions, even clothing. Experts think there might be up to 8,000 of them, but only about 2,000 have been found so far.
What's really fascinating is that the central tomb, where the emperor himself is believed to be buried, still hasn't been opened. Ancient records mention a giant underground city built by the emperor, complete with towers, palaces, and more.
A historian from the Han dynasty named Sima Qian wrote that the tomb was filled with treasures and had space for hundreds of officials.
So why haven't they explored it? The main issue is technology. It's just not safe enough to investigate it properly. The emperor is said to be surrounded by liquid mercury, with 2 flowing rivers inside the tomb, representing China's major rivers, the Yellow River and the Yangtze.
The ancient Chinese believed mercury could grant immortality. Ironically, it may have killed him. He reportedly took mercury pills regularly to try to extend his life.
To this day, the soil around the tomb contains dangerously high levels of mercury, which is one big reason scientists are hesitant to dig in. It could be harmful to both people and the environment.
Honestly, if I had to pick a door to open, I'd probably not go with the one that leads to a tomb full of toxic mercury. Call me crazy, but I'd like to avoid any potential health hazards. One of the most unexplored and mysterious places on Earth is hiding in plain sight. It's also one of the most incredible monuments ever created by humanity, the Great Sphinx of Giza in Egypt. This massive statue of a lion with a human head was carved out of stone about 4,500 years ago. And believe it or not, scientists still don't know exactly when it was built, who built it, or even why. There are plenty of theories and guesses, but nothing has been confirmed for sure. Most people have seen the Sphinx in pictures, or maybe even in person, but hardly anyone knows what lies beneath it. The statue was carved from a single block of limestone, and yes, it was originally painted. Traces of coloured pigment still remain on its surface. So back in the day, the Sphinx would have looked a lot more colourful and vibrant than it does now. By the way, Sphinx isn't even its original name. That was given by the Greeks over 100 years after it was built. The ancient Egyptians originally called it Hor-em-Akhet, which means Horus of the horizon. There are tons of legends and theories about the Sphinx and why it exists. Some say it was built as a guardian, like a watchdog, protecting the pharaoh's tomb and the secrets of ancient Egypt. These stories gained more traction when archaeologists discovered hidden entrances near the Sphinx's pores. They believed these secret passages might lead to underground chambers filled with treasures. In fact, you can find lots of stories online claiming the Sphinx hides the mythical Hall of Records, a place said to hold ancient wisdom, lost history, and maybe even knowledge from lost civilizations. A warehouse full of ancient hidden knowledge. Supposedly one of the most important artifacts in that stash is a set of records from the legendary lost city of Atlantis. According to some legends, the entire library was moved from that city and hidden beneath the Great Sphinx. The entrance to it is said to be right next to the Sphinx's right paw. Many archaeologists have tried to find the entrance, but so far no luck. There are also a bunch of diagrams and illustrations floating around showing what's supposed to be an underground city made up of tunnels and chambers under the Sphinx. One theory even claims that there are structures as tall as 12 stories buried down there, but there's no actual proof. Even after all these years, archaeologists are still investigating the Sphinx and trying to uncover its secrets. At the same time, many locals don't want to know more. They're afraid that digging too deep could awaken something supernatural. Back in 1998, scientists discovered tunnels leading to empty caves underneath the Sphinx. They also found signs that someone had been there before, like maybe someone actually found the treasure and took it. Some people believe the Egyptians uncovered a powerful artifact buried beneath the Sphinx, something that uses mysterious advanced technology. This artifact is said to be so powerful that it could change the course of history. Of course, most of these stories are just conspiracy theories, but what's almost certain is that there is a network of caves and chambers down there. There are so many rumors surrounding the Sphinx that it's nearly impossible to tell what's true and what's not. Either way, studying the Sphinx is hard and risky. Digging around it could damage the statue, and any underground entrance might get blocked off forever. Plus, more exploration means more money, and getting the funding isn't always easy. But the biggest issue, it's dangerous. There's no guarantee that anyone venturing into the tunnels could make it back out. That's why scientists and archaeologists have been cautiously exploring this incredible structure for years. Another famous monument with a secret is Mount Rushmore in South Dakota. Everyone knows the giant carved faces of US presidents, but few people know there's a secret room hidden behind Abraham Lincoln's head.
The sculptor of Mount Rushmore originally wanted to carve huge panels into the mountain that would tell the story of America's most important historical events. But the idea was way too complex to pull off. So instead they went for a smaller version, a hidden room inside the mountain to preserve that history for future generations.
Sadly, the sculptor died before he could finish it, and work on the room stopped for decades. But in the late 1990s, the project picked up again, and porcelain panels showing key moments in US history were placed inside the room.
They're probably going to stay there forever, but the public can't see them. Not yet, anyway. The room's off limits because it's so hard to reach.
There's another secret room, this time in the Empire State Building. And it's not just a room, it's one of the best photo spots in New York.
Most tourists go to the 86th floor observation deck to get that classic view of Manhattan. But there's actually another viewing area on the 102nd floor with panoramic windows. Hardly anyone knows about it, so it's way less crowded.
The best part? It's open to the public. You probably won't have to wait in a long line, and you'll feel like you've discovered a hidden gem where you can snap some amazing photos. But the real hidden treasure is on the 103rd floor. That's where celebrities go to take their pictures. It's not open to the public, but if you've got the right connections, you might get in.
Security is minimal, just a low railing separating you from the edge, which is why big crowds aren't allowed up there. It's tough to access, and you'd probably need a guide to make it. First, you have to choose the right elevator. Then you pass through several mechanical rooms full of pipes, wiring, and equipment. The final part of the journey is a narrow staircase inside a tight passageway.
And then boom, you're standing at the top of New York. Now let's hop over to Paris. See the Eiffel Tower? Sure, it's got restaurants and observation decks, but if you really look, you might find a secret apartment inside. Today, it's a museum, but it was originally built as a place someone could actually live in. Gustave Eiffel, the tower's designer, created the apartment for himself back in 1889. It's located near the very top of the Eiffel Tower. Just imagine the view he had every day. He was the first and only tenant. No one else was allowed access. For a long time, the apartment sat empty. It was only recently restored and turned into a museum. Inside, it feels like you've stepped back in time to the 19th century. They've even added wax figures of Gustav Eiffel, his daughter, and American inventor Thomas Edison inside the room. Now let's switch gears. This next place is buzzing with a non-stop stream of commuters, late office workers, out-of-towners, and the noise of trains and whistles. It's Grand Central Station in New York.
But among all that chaos, if you're standing in just the right spot, you might hear the sound of a tennis ball hitting a racket. Yep, you heard that right. There's actually a real tennis court hidden inside Grand Central Station. It belongs to a tennis club that hosts games for employees from various companies. The club opened back in the 1960s.
Next stop, London. We're at Charing Cross Road. Finding a secret here isn't easy. You'll have to look down. See those drain grates in the pavement? Inside them you might spot two street signs labelled Little Compton Street. That's right, there's a whole street underneath you. It disappeared from maps in the late 1800s when Charing Cross Road was built over it. The signs you see are part of an old network of engineering tunnels. There's another cool hidden gem in London. This one's in the southeast corner of Trafalgar Square. At first glance it just looks like a thick lamppost, but if you look closer, you'll notice that a person can actually step inside it. And no, it's not some secret spot for electricians. It's actually the smallest police station in the world. Built in the 1930s, it was used as a watch post. Officers would sit inside, one at a time, and keep an eye on the square, which was often full of pickpockets and petty criminals. This summer you finally decided to take that unforgettable world tour. First stop, Europe, and where better to start than Italy, the land of pasta, pizza, and delicious gelato. Ah, here it is, the world-famous Leaning Tower of Pisa. You grab your ticket and step inside the slanted monument. You're about to climb 251 slippery steps, so watch your footing and don't forget to breathe. The white marble stones are beautiful, and every now and then you get a peek outside to take in the city view. Congrats, you made it. You're now at the top of the bell tower, free to take all the selfies you want. The Leaning Tower is one of Italy's most iconic landmarks. As you're climbing, the tour guide explains that it's actually a medieval structure built between the 12th and 14th centuries. It took over 200 years to finish, and in case you're wondering, yes, it's always been leaning. No doubt about it. After the third floor was built, the tower started sinking. Turns out the name Pisa comes from the Greek word for marshy land. The ground is super soft, made of clay, mud and sand. Architects have been trying to fix the lean ever since construction began. From the top of this 185-foot monument, take a moment to enjoy the view. How many terracotta rooftops can you count? If you walk over to the south side, you might feel a bit closer to the ground. That's because the tower leans in that direction. At one point, it was leaning over 5.5 degrees and still didn't fall. These days, the tilt is a little less. A few years back, top architects and engineers did some work to keep it from collapsing. They dug several tunnels and removed over 38 cubic meters of soil from under the north side of the tower. Now it leans at about 4 degrees. So, if you want one of those classic photos of you holding up the tower, better hurry. Who knows how long it'll stay tilted. Now you're headed to Rome, a city that's basically one big open-air museum. The weather's scorching hot, but you're in luck. Today, you're visiting the baths of Caracalla. Ready for an authentic taste of ancient Roman life? You step in through what used to be the changing room. You'll need to use your imagination here. These days, all that's left are brick walls reaching up 130 feet. Back in the day, Romans from all walks of life spent an hour or two each day at the baths. They'd stop by after a long workday or before dinner. Massive bathhouses like this one were usually free to use, but you still had to pay a small entry fee. After the changing room, visitors would head into a heated room where they'd get an oil massage and a good scrub. Then some would move on to one of the huge exercise yards. See how massive they are? There used to be beautiful marble columns all around, and you can still spot fragments of mosaics decorating the floors, a colourful floor beneath your feet. If you're into something a bit more intellectual, you can stop to listen to a philosopher or swing by one of the libraries. Now we're in the most impressive room of all, the caldarium. It was a giant circular steam room, 115 feet in diameter, and it didn't just have 1 or 2 hot tubs, it had 7. Above you, there's a massive dome supported by huge granite columns. The entire place was richly decorated with colourful glass mosaics and the finest white marble. The complex also had an indoor swimming pool, the size of an Olympic pool, with water up to your waist. These days, all you can really admire are the red brick and concrete walls that remain. Emperor Caracalla, like many Roman emperors, built this massive bath complex, and it definitely impressed the public. After a long international flight, you arrive in Egypt. Get ready for camel rides and delicious dried fruits. Anyone here a fan of dates? You leave your hotel at dawn and head to the outskirts of Cairo, driving across the Nile River toward the West Bank. Don't forget to snap some pics along the way. In the distance, you spot a huge monument. It's the Great Sphinx of Giza. Can you believe people built this over 4,500 years ago? As you get closer, you'll see the Great Pyramids just to the north of the Sphinx.
One cool fact. Unlike the pyramids, the Sphinx wasn't built block by block. It was carved straight out of the limestone bedrock on the Giza Plateau. Even today, it's one of the biggest statues in the world, 66 feet tall and 240 feet long from paws to tail. The Sphinx's face looks pretty weathered now, but archaeologists say it didn't always look like this. In Photoshop reconstructions, the Sphinx looks completely different. At some point, the nose and parts of the beard were broken off. Experts believe the statue was made in the image of Pharaoh Khafre, which is why the face looks so human. Just below the eyes, there's a carved line meant to represent coal eyeliner, made from charcoal, which ancient Egyptians used. It wasn't just for looks, though. It actually protected their eyes from UV rays. Pretty handy in the blazing desert sun. There's still debate over whether the Sphinx had a beard. Many believe that since it's meant to represent a pharaoh, it likely had a braided beard that eroded or was removed by people over time. You can still spot remains of a royal headpiece, which symbolize power and kingship. Try imagining it in blue and gold stripes. That's probably what it looked like when it was first built. No one really knows how long it took to carve that iconic face, but judging by the detail, it must have taken a long time. If you're lucky, your guide might take you to one of the hidden chambers inside the Sphinx. That is, if they're real and not just legend.
Next stop, Greece and its crystal clear waters. Whether you arrive by boat or plane, you're in for a treat. You reach Mandraki Marina, but at first glance you don't see any ruins. That's because one of Greece's most famous monuments, the Colossus of Rhodes, was destroyed ages ago. Before it collapsed during a massive earthquake, it was considered one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. If you've seen drawings of the Colossus, you might mistake it for the Statue of Liberty. That's not a coincidence. There's actually a connection. Both were built as symbols of freedom, and Lady Liberty is often called the modern Colossus. The original statue stood 100 feet tall, but now all that's left is a concrete dock with a big empty space in the middle. Try to imagine a bronze giant stretching across both sides of the harbour. The Colossus was built in the 3rd century BCE with the help of 900 camels for transporting materials. It stood for about 54 years before the earthquake knocked it down. The quake was so powerful that only one massive foot remained. Even so, people continued visiting the ruins for years afterward, so ready to head home. Thanks for tagging along on this journey, and don't forget to tell me your favourite stop. See you next time. You're wandering around a food expo in Iceland, and then you see it, volcano bread. You try a slice and, surprisingly, it tastes amazing. Curious how it's made, you check out the baking process. Wait, is it just you, or does this kitchen look a little strange? That's because they're baking it out in nature, right on top of a hot spring field. Better watch your step, you don't want to get burned. Subscribe to discover more forgotten history with us. Like, comment, and support our journey to uncover the truth behind ancient mysteries. See you on the next